Hey, in lesson 52 are we on now? We're going to solve unit multiplier problems like these. I'm just going to hit 4 highlights. You'll want to look at them all. But examples 1, 3, 5, and 6, I think these are. Will give you a pretty good taste of what we're doing here. First example, we're just saying if we have a 64-inch tall tree, right, it's 64 inches, not huge. What is that in feet? Okay. It's going to be less, right? Because feet measure several inches. But how many feet is that? There's a few ways you can do that. First of all, you need to know how many inches are in a foot. And it's 12. It's your ruler. And one way we can do that is using a unit multiplier. You take what you know, 64 inches. Don't forget the label. We need them for these. And then you multiply that. You multiply it by what's called a unit multiplier, where we make a rate, inches per foot or foot per inches, depending on what are we going from. And since it's inches, we want inches on the bottom, and I'll explain why in a moment, and feet on the top. It's only going to require the 1. How many inches to a foot? Like that. If it's helpful, I can put 1 down here. Now, this way, when you multiply, you know how we cross-reduce? You can literally cross-reduce the label because they're diagonal. Okay? We could even start cross-reducing the number too, but to keep it simple, let's just do now 64 times 1 foot is 64 feet. Divided by 12. So how many feet is 64 divided by 12? 12 goes into 64 5 times? Because there's 4 left over, and 4 over 12 is a third. 5 1/3 feet? I hope so. Looking at this one, 4 quarts of juice, is that enough for 30 students? Well, you could divide quarts by students, and that would tell us that, what, 4 divided by 30 means 100, maybe like, 13 over 100 quarts, which isn't super helpful. Or, I guess we could just reduce this fraction. That's probably the best way to do it. 4 over 30 is the same as, divide top and bottom by 2. 2 over 15. 2/15 of a quart. Now, since that's not super meaningful, what volume measure would be more meaningful? Well, cups and ounces are useful because we know what a cup is, right? And quarts per cup, I think they've got that on here somewhere. Uh, 32 ounces to a quart. And we have 4 of them. So cross out your quarts, and we've just got the ounces left. We're using a unit multiplier here. That's 128. No. 128 ounces. Divided by the 15 then, right? Or is it divided by 30? Divided by 30. 128 over 30. A little over 4 ounces. And since 16 ounces is a cup, that means you're getting like a fourth of a cup. They probably don't have enough. That's kind of how we solve that. Run a mile in 7 minutes, 30 seconds, fairly average. Find her time in minutes. Well, we already know it's 7 minutes. But then we've got that remainder in seconds. So how can we get that in all minutes? It's obviously going to be 7 and a fraction minutes. What fraction of a minute is 30 seconds? Well, we know it's a half. But how do we get there? 60 seconds in 1 minute. And I chose seconds to be on the bottom of my unit multiplier because I want an answer in minutes, and I'm starting with seconds. If I start with seconds, then this way I can go right diagonally, cross those out. 30 over 60, I can immediately recognize as a 3 over 6 or 1/2 minutes. If we want to show it as a decimal as well, 7.5 minutes. To measure a room for carpeting, one converts the length and width from feet and inches to yards. 13 feet 6 inches is how many yards? Let's get it all in feet first of all. And since there's 12 inches to a foot, 13 and 6 would be the same as 13 and a half. I'm just doing that quick. Feet, or 13.5, is how many yards? So we're using a second unit multiplier now. 13.5 times, actually I think we want feet on the bottom. Because we want yards to come out as our answer. 3 feet to a yard. Now we cancel out our units diagonally, right? So it's 13.5 over 3. (13.5 feet divided by 3 is 4.5 yards. 4.5 yards. Let's see how I did. I think that's example 6. And they might have solved a little different, but there they have that answer. I'd like you to try B, D, F, H, and J. So every other starting with B, please. Thank you.